More insight on President Trump's travel ban and crackdown on immigration. Let's speak with David Super, Carmack Waterhouse Professor of Law and Economics at Georgetown University Law Center. And he joins us live now from Washington, D.C. Professor Super, we both love your name, but let me start by asking you about, the various reasons that the Trump administration gave for the bans. I mean, we hear things like national security. Specifically, we heard the attack in Boulder, Colorado mentioned. So I was fully expecting to find Egypt on the list. It's not. Chad is, but not Mali, nor the Central African Republic, which recently worked with Wagner, the paramilitary group that's linked to Russia. So does this list make any sense? How do we make sense of this list? And can a country dispute any of the allegations?
Well, the allegations are extremely vague. They released a memo with just a line or two about each country that don't say much of anything. So it's very hard for countries to dispute that. In practice, what we've seen on trade matters, and I think it's going to be true here, is that countries need to flatter Donald Trump, and that will result in a change. As you say, both the inclusions and the exclusions on that list are very strange.
And Professor Super, is this new ban and restrictions, if you like, on a sounder logistical and legal footing compared to his first attempt in 2017? I mean, we know that basically created chaos when he tried to impose that ban on 7 Muslim-majority countries that were legal challenges at the same time as well.
This is, I think, going to be very difficult to sustain because he has such vague, strange reasons. Our courts try not to second-guess the president on foreign affairs, but he has been, and his administration has been caught misleading the courts on a number of matters in their rushed attempts to deport Venezuelans and other Latin Americans. So I'm not sure the courts will accept this without a lot more rationale than the administration has provided.
And Professor, looking at how countries might respond to this, I mean, countries like Somalia have already expressed a willingness to cooperate. You earlier mentioned they might need to flatter Mr. Trump to get off the list. But what would a country need to do to earn its way off the list?
Well, there's very little rationale for how they got on the list, so I don't think it's a matter of correcting it to get off the list. I think it's a matter of giving the administration something that it wants. And often that something is flattery. Occasionally there may be some bilateral matter that they want to sort out with that country and are using this for leverage to get that assistance. But I don't think there are any coherent criteria here. We have some criteria in U.S. law, and countries make efforts to avoid falling on the wrong side of those, but this is completely arbitrary.
And unlike Somalia, Chad quickly issued a reciprocal restriction on visas to U.S. citizens. Could this ban backfire for the U.S., either diplomatically or economically?
Well, I think it's certainly going to backfire diplomatically. The U.S. has interests all over the world and needs partners, whether it's at the UN or in local areas. So this is certainly going to undermine our ability to get cooperation from these countries in those matters. It's also going to hurt us economically, as you say, because a lot of Americans who travel to these countries are trying to set up business deals. So this is further narrowing our business engagement with the rest of the world, which will make us poorer.
And Professor Super, is it clear what's going to happen to people who are trying to flee conflict and war? Afghans, for example, who fought with the U.S. against the Taliban, or maybe people from Myanmar who are trying to flee the ongoing war there and persecution by the military junta?
I don't think it's clear at all. The administration has made some very strange, unfounded statements that conditions in Afghanistan have gotten better. None of the international human rights organizations that I follow have said anything like that. And a lot of U.S. veterans of the Afghan war are horrified that we might abandon Afghans who fled to this country. So I think there's going to be a fight within Mr. Trump's party about Afghanistan. It's possible there could be similar fights about Somalia or Myanmar or other countries, or Laos.
Understood. Professor Super, before we let you go, is there a way that Harvard University fits into all of this? I mean, we know that Trump hinted at easing off slightly on the school. We know it's a separate issue, but somehow it feels connected at the same time as well, Professor.
Well, President Trump has been pursuing many people and institutions that he thinks have treated him badly. Large law firms, certain governors, international organizations, foreign states, and Harvard is one of those. And I think he believes that many of his voters resent Harvard or jealous of Harvard and will cheer him on in attacking it. But he's been extremely clumsy in his attacks on Harvard. They have sued successfully to block them. And I think this latest move against Harvard, preventing international students from coming there, is likely to be struck down by the courts within a week.
All right, Professor, we will have to leave it there. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning. David Super is Carmack Waterhouse Professor of Law and Economics at Georgetown University Law Center.